Good morning, everyone. Today we continue in the Iggeres HaRamban, and we conclude the final idea that the Ramban gives over when it comes to the trait of kas, of anger. And he writes, "V'kasher tinotzel min hakas." When a person will rescue themselves and save themselves from this midah of kas, of anger, which means that they're no longer allowing themselves to get drawn in to the rage of anger that wells up inside of a person way too often in our lives. But when you are saved, when you distance yourself from anger, midas ha'anava, this beautiful quality of humility will come up and enter inside of your heart. Which means, based on the inference from the words of the Ramban, as long as a person is a kaisan, which means he is a person that repeatedly gets angry, he gets frustrated by situations, he gets disappointed by people will be a disgrace and a letdown in his eyes for the things that they have done. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send a person challenges. Things will not go as planned, quote unquote. His parnasa might suffer, his health might waver, his family might be in difficult straits. Things just don't seem to go the way that the man himself would like it to be. So what happens to this person? He comes into a state of kas, of anger. What's he lacking? He's lacking something called anava, humility. You cannot be an angry person and a humble person at the same time. For true humility is based upon the understanding that I see myself for who I am. I recognize I'm not the boss. I'm not in control of the world. I'm not even in control of my life. I can't dictate and determine how every little thing is going to work in my life. Rather, when I take a step back and I recognize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running the world, and he's done a good job for the last 5,778 years since the world has come into inception. And if he decides to do something to me that I'm not happy with, so it behooves me to work on my anivos, on my humility, to recognize it's coming from Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows clearly what he is doing, and he would not do this thing in my life unless it was the best event or option or pathway for me to take, or the greatest challenge which is going to help me maximize the potential that is within me. In a person that allows himself to feed in to the quality and the trait of kas, of anger, means that he doesn't have within him the sensitivity and the gentleness of being a humbled soul. Rather, he is a haughty individual filled with arrogance, thinking that he runs the world, and when something doesn't go his way, it's surprising. How is it possible that someone like me, on the high horse that I ride on all day long, how is it possible that things are not going to work out exactly the way that I believe that they should? And then he comes into anger. But when a person learns how to control his kas, and he's tinotzel, he has distanced himself, he's actually rescued himself from incidents and complicated moments of kas, of anger. So now there's room inside of his heart that the brooding has finished and the fires that are inside of there have left him. Now there's room for the quality of humility of anivos to enter deeply into his heart, and I will begin to become this anav, this humble person who is going to be so lowly, so to speak, in his own eyes, which means that he will recognize his true self-worth, and he will be able to understand that I have so far to go and so much more to accomplish, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so kind, everything that He does is always for the best, I'm so happy with what He does for me, then he will be able to start acquiring the beautiful trait of humility that will then crown the person with the most beautiful midos, the most beautiful character that a person could imagine. So we're finishing off our kas. Hopefully in the last several days we understand how terrible it is, how much better we could be if we overcome it. And this is going to bring us into the next message that the Ramban is going to speak, which is acquiring for oneself the beautiful and the humble trait of humility. Wishing everybody a wonderful day.